Welcome to Hoovie's Garage, the dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube. Today we're going to look at this Ramcharger. Let's get started.
This is not Hoovie's Garage. What did you do now?
I know it's not Hoovie's Garage, it's the Car Wizard channel, but I've got the hoopty sickness just as bad as he does. And I saw this one on Marketplace. I couldn't help myself, Mrs. Wizard. I just have to save it. I couldn't let it go.
It's metallic purple.
Yes. And I traded your Z3 for it.
Guys, I need help out there, please.
Anyways, this is a 1990 Dodge Ramcharger with the 5.2 liter or a 318 TBI fuel injected V8 with a 518 transmission, and these are hard to find, and when you do find them, they're usually absolutely destroyed. This one is not a cream puff by any stretch, but it is a good platform to work with. I do apologize for the wind today. It's 50-mile-per-hour gust here in Kansas, and it's flapping all of my exhaust vents for the building and all kind of different things. It's making a lot of racket. I do apologize. But as cool as this Ramcharger is, I traded it non-running for this thing, Mrs. Wizard. It doesn't run.
Of course you did, dear. Of course.
Actually, it does. We fix it. Me and Danielson pulled our mental resources together. This one was a tough one. And you're going to see when we go through what could be wrong with this to keep it from running the way it did. It had nothing to do with what you would think it was. Like I mentioned, I found it on Marketplace, and it said in the ad it doesn't run. It actually will run for 2 seconds and then it just dies. It'll do that all day long, run for 2 seconds and then die. When the person who brought this, they actually were nice and delivered it to my shop in trade for the Z3. When they brought it, they said, I've tried everything under the sun that I know. It's got a new computer, it's got a new distributor Hall effect sensor, it's got a new throttle body, a new fuel pump, a whole list of things. He's like, I'm done. I threw in the towel on this. I can't figure it out. I give up. He was asking the same price that the Z3 we were selling it for. I said, how about a trade? He said, a running vehicle for a non-running one. Hey, I'll take it. So let's take a look around this thing and see what I got. So here is the front of this really sweet Ramcharger. It actually has the Ram's head on it like they did in the 80s. This is, I don't know how much longer they did that, but it wasn't too much longer after this model that you didn't get the Ram's head anymore. As you can tell, as we go down the side, the paint, especially on top of the vehicle, is pretty roached out. And like Mrs. Wizard mentioned, we believe it is a aftermarket paint job, something that was done after the fact. And they didn't do a very good job, it looks. At least low quality paint. But if you look down the side right now, it's not caved in, it's not rusted out. That's really a plus on one of these. You see the glitter, guys? It's got like bass boat glitter in the paint. It's purple. It's really, really odd.
Makes sense. Trade one purple car for another.
Yeah, basically. I've seen a lot of these Ramchargers around since I was a kid. And I never realized until I actually got one, unlike a K5 Blazer or a Suburban or something, or even a Bronco, the way the rear hatch works is so different. It doesn't open split in the middle. It doesn't open like a big barn door. It opens like an SUV of modern day. Like that. And they included a broom handle for us because the struts are bad. Of course they are. And it will just slam down if I let it. But as we go down this side, we can see that the paint is chipped and it does have some surface rust on it. There's some poor adhesion with the paint. But still, it's not caved in, it's not wrecked, and I've looked under the bottom, it's actually pretty nice. Let's jump into the interior and let Mrs. Wizard take a look around.
Well, let me clean that off for you a little better there. It's a little dirty and dusty and, well, grimy in here. But it does say 134,803 miles. So I guess that's a saving grace for this, that it doesn't have like 400,000 miles on it, but it does obviously need to be cleaned. We can see a layer of dust and crud there, but maybe it's protecting it. I'm not sure. The dash is looking okay. I mean, I don't see any cracks. I don't see any major problems. Obviously, that layer of dust does need to be removed to make it look better. Let's go ahead and check our glove box. Ooh, sunflower seeds. Well, the shell's great. And a vacuuming, apparently. But it does hold, I'll give it that. Most of the louvers are still in our vents, and our HVAC system is quite simple to use. It's a slider and a few buttons. Radio, I imagine Wizard will probably upgrade that because he does like a Bluetooth. Ashtray, well, it's there. And we have something that would have been Velcroed there, but not sure. It's not there any longer. We do have our range selector for our four-wheel drive, and it does have the original manuals on the floor. Shockingly. There's a science experiment happening in this cup holder, and we do have a key, and a spare ignition if we need it. And we've got more keys and ignition and who knows what all is in there. Let's go ahead and check the hidey hole here, and well, okay, more crud, but no major scary things in there. It does have a lovely cable that keeps it from falling farther back, so that's nice. The armrest is quite revolutionary. Just hangs back there and dangles, and it does stop when it does hit the center console. This one is working better, and we can see that the seat actually is in pretty good shape. It is a cloth seat, no rips, no tears. The driver's seat is not quite so fortunate, it does have a few issues. Well, the door handle is pretty standard for most cars of that era. You can definitely tell that that rubber is, well, a little floppy. Wizard assures me that we can pick up one of those on eBay rather inexpensively. But if we look here again, more of that glitter paint on the interior as well. The back seat, that is a lovely bench seat. Actually looks like, looks comfortable. Looks like there's no rips or tears in it, so that's actually a good plus. The headliner is up, it's not dangling, it's not sagging, so again, another plus. One thing it does have auto windows and electric lock, so that is kind of a nice feature. One thing that it does not have on the driver's door is the handle that allows you to, close the door well. So I guess we're going to have to hope the wind pushes it closed, especially on a day like today. Well, here we are at the steering wheel, and there's nothing fancy on it. There's just the horn button. That's it, because again, it's 1990. We didn't have anything fancy like that. And yes, you're seeing down below. Let's see if the camera will focus. There we go. You can see my shoes, and there's the fuse box. Nice. A good place to keep it. But I have a feeling it's dangling like that because they were trying to track down some problems. So enough of this interior talk. Let's see what's going on underneath that hood.
Look at this big old beast open. You can see we've been doing some testing. We have several things, tools and test equipment out. That's our 318. Has the old R12 AC system, alternator, even has a smog pump that's still working amazingly. Has cruise control, power brakes, all the nice things that I definitely want on a vehicle. I'm going to start it up for you guys and give you the symptom that even the previous owner had, that they threw in the towel. They just totally gave up after spending tons of money on parts. So I'll start it up for you guys. I'll do it one more time for you guys. It does the same thing over and over. So we'll play the game, see if you guys can guess what it is. Is it A, an ASD relay? Is it B, a bad distributor pickup? Or is it C, a failing computer? I'll let you post in the comment what you think it is. And then we're going to dive into this. I want to show you one more thing that helped us with our diagnosis to get to the bottom of it, but it's really strange. So I'm going to have Mrs. Wizard start this up. I'm going to spray starting fluid in it, and we'll show you what happens. So I've got starting fluid, and I've got fire extinguisher, which I've used these before. We get these at your hardware store. I've had a carb fire in the past, and it worked instantly, put out the fire. They are so good. So we've got that. So we'll go ahead and start it up, and let's see what happens if I feed it some fuel. Go ahead. Okay, so the fact of the matter is, as long as I provide it fuel, It'll run all day long. It runs fine. So we know now the computer's not shutting this off, because as long as I get it fuel, it's happy, it'll keep running. So it's not an ASD relay. It keeps going, it wants to go. It's not a distributor pickup, because if that was the case, it still would shut things down, it would turn off, even while I give it fuel. And it's not a PCM, because it runs, it wants to run. It says, please, just give me fuel. Give me fuel, give me fire, give me chat with fire. You guys know the Metallica song. Just like we were duped, me and Danielson were duped really hard on this one. You were too. We actually used our Power Probe, which is in our Amazon affiliates link. If you want to go to that, there's a link in the description. We have it listed. It's such a powerful tool for diagnostic work. It is really good. So here's the ASD relay right here. And we tested for power, tested ground, we tested the PCM, we tested all the different things going on here, and it always worked. It always did what it's supposed to. This green wire right here supplies power to the coil, power to the injectors, power all over the place, and it never stopped giving power, so as long as I give it fuel. You saw Mrs. Wizard's interior review. I hope you did. If you didn't, you missed out on something. The fuse box is actually hanging down. It's because we were doing a lot of testing inside the dash. The previous owner said they did also put a new ignition switch in, so we were thinking maybe they got something wrong there. We did testing, relays, fuses. We were doing all kinds of testing. A whole day of testing to find out one true fact. It is absolutely not electrical at all. It has nothing to do with electronics on anything on this vehicle. So now we know, we've ruled out, and which, by the way, you guys know that's how I work. I like to do the process of elimination. We've eliminated ASD relay, power, PCM, a whole list of things, distributor, coil, all of that is eliminated, completely off the radar now. We give it fuel, it wants to run. So is it possibly bad fuel? It's just been sitting a long time. No, it's not. We actually drained some fuel out of the tank. It's fresh fuel. Actually, at the throttle body, we let off a little pressure. Fresh fuel. It's not bad. It could be. But if that were the case, then it wouldn't even start for 2 seconds. It just wouldn't start if it was bad fuel. Like I mentioned, and like you guys saw in this video, I could start it all day long. It'll run for 2 seconds and shut off. This one's going to be really strange. This is a throttle body injection system. A modern fuel injection system runs off of 40, 50, 60 psi. I mean, it could be at least 35. These should be 10 to 15 range, 12, 14, 17 even. Somewhere in there it should be in that range. Danielson actually had the bright idea. He said, let's check fuel pressure. He said, I think if it's possibly too high, it can overwhelm the injectors. I said, that's a great idea. Let's check it. So we're looking for 10, 15 PSI, maybe 16, 17. That's what we would like to see on a good running system. Let's see what we get. So I'm going to start it, and then Mrs. Wizard will show you guys the fuel pressure gauge, what we're getting to. Here we go. 70 PSI for a TBI unit? That's 4 times almost the fuel pressure it should be. What the hell's going on here? I don't know of any TBI system on any vehicle that runs off of 70 PSI. It should only be 12, 14, 15, somewhere in that range. Here's what's happening, and we'll show you why it's doing this here in a minute. It starts up for a few seconds, and the pressure becomes so great after about 2 seconds that the computer controlling the injectors are so overwhelmed they can't even open and close and do their job. They're like, holy crap, what is going on here? And it just stops. No more fuel. It literally, the pressure is so great, it closes the pintle and shuts it off. Isn't that weird, guys? Now let's find out, why is it doing that? So this right here is the supply line from the fuel pump. Whenever we would apply power to the fuel pump, we could hear it run, but it should be a steady zzz sound, but it made it sound like, ew, like it was deadheading. Me and Danielson actually both spoke at the same time. We were like, it's clogged. Something's clogged. We did a bunch of checks and finally got down to it. I'll unhook the return hose that goes to the tank. Okay, now I'm going to go from the throttle body with my own hose to a fuel jug. We're going to bypass the return system. So now I have a hose going from the throttle body and to catch the fuel into here. Let's see if it'll start and run fine. Yes! Danielson is becoming a car wizard. He is getting to that level. He helped me figure this out. It runs perfect. Let me go ahead and turn it off. I'll rev it for you guys. So no disrespect to the previous owner. He did what he could, as best of his ability. But this is how I run my shop. We do not do the parts cannon. So why is the spiking pressure, why is it going so high? We actually put shop air to the return line back to the fuel tank, 90 psi, and it still won't go through. We're gonna have to drop the tank. Either the line is pinched or something's plugged, I don't know what it is. But there is zero chance for any drop of fuel to get back to the fuel tank. It allows the throttle body to spike to skyrocketing pressures, really high, more than it could ever, should be running at. So there you have it. You could run all day long in circles, ASD relay, it could be this, the Hall effect sensor, the PCM, none of those. Wasn't this really, really strange, guys? So I have plans for this vehicle. I'd like to take it on trails and have fun with it and go off-roading a little bit with it. That's the reason why I got it. And now it runs. I was worried, you know, I could have purchased this, not sight unseen, but kind of it was. I could have really gotten screwed, and it wouldn't have been the previous owner screwing me. I could have gotten screwed because it could have been something really, really drastic wrong. The paint is bad on it. I'm probably going to sand it down and just do like a military olive drab color paint. But there's going to be a lot more videos on this. We still have to discover after we fix the fuel tank, does it drive well? Does the transmission shift well? There's a lot of other things we need to find out. That'll be videos coming. But these victories are really great. And it cost nothing, just time. And we didn't have to go buy no parts. It just took know-how, me and Danielson's skills, and a lot of the tools we have in our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. We use those tools to figure out these problems. If you purchase anything there, we get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And we have so many more cool videos to come with other cars in the shop, and there's going to be more on the series on the Ram Charger. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching.